Joanna, thank you so much for being here. Before the launch later this week, I want to start with just how this fits into the strategy of JetBlue right now to make the airline truly profitable for a sustainable period of time.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Great to be here and have you in BlueHouse, JetBlue's first foray into lounges. This is very much part of our Jet Forward strategy. We've been working very hard for the last several quarters on really turning towards premium and trying to make sure that we're offering more opportunities for customers who want to pay a little more. And the lounge is part of that. Our transition to a first-class product next year, a domestic first-class product, will be part of that. Our Premier card, our Even More as a cabin, and really excited to start seeing all of that come to life in 2026.
All of the big airlines have talked about loyalty and how important loyalty and premium offerings is to their profitability going forward. How is it different for JetBlue? Because there isn't the sort of obvious business customer that typically fuels the loyalty offering.
I mean, we're a leisure carrier. We tend to get, a nice share of business customers because they love the product. We're back at the top for Net Promoter Score, so really proud of that. But at the end of the day, this is really designed around trying to make sure that customers who travel for vacation have a reason to come back again and again, and providing them with a little oasis of peace. And really through our loyalty program, we want to reward people who choose JetBlue because they love the product, the service, and what we offer.
You have already offered Mint and other premium rollouts. How has it been going?
It's been great. Mint's been a very strong source of revenue for JetBlue for well over the last decade. And so we're not new to this. We have a brand that, definitely associates with more of a higher end leisure customer, providing more to customers at a very reasonable fare. And we want to make sure that we offer something for everybody across the full spectrum, whether you want sort of a dialed down experience, still free Wi-Fi and great legroom and great snacks and drinks, TVs. But then if you want to pay a little more, you have the opportunity for a lounge, our Mint class for transatlantic, and then when we launch domestic first later this year, that's going to be a great product offering for customers who want a little more. So
I was shuttled into here through very long security lines and lots of people with screaming children trying to get to different destinations for their warm holidays. This is the busy season. How is it looking in terms of demand, given the fact that there were some hiccups in the past couple of months, but at this point, people are getting back to what they originally had?
Yeah, 2025 has been a very tough year, whether it was the macro setback or the government shutdown or the list goes on and on. We're really looking forward to the holiday season. Bookings are coming in strong. As we go into 2026, we're optimistic that the consumer is healthy and that we're going to start really ramping up the initiatives that we have been working really hard for the last year to execute to and seeing the benefit as we move through 2026.
How long do you think it'll take before you start to actually turn profitable and sustain that?
Our goal next year is to break even from an operating margin perspective, and that's the first step back to profitability. We have a great team here. Everybody's pulling for us. We're doing all the right things, whether it's our focus on operational reliability, Net Promoter Score, all of the premium products that we're launching, our laser focus on costs, and really trying to make sure that we're delivering a great product offering for customers, because JetBlue has this wonderful brand and this sense of people want to love us and they want to see us succeed. And 2026 is going to be our year with everything we've put into place.
Because 2025 was not the year for a lot of airlines. There were a lot of issues. And you talk about the government shutdown. This has been a big discussion among a lot of the airline CEOs, where they've said we just can't make up that kind of revenue. So there will be some sort of hit. Have you disclosed any kind of revenue loss as a result of some of the shutdown?
We haven't disclosed any kind of revenue loss. We've said that we remain on track for Q4, and I think we're pleased with what we're seeing in terms of bookings coming in for the balance of the month. We definitely saw some softness, obviously, during the government shutdown, but we're recovering coming out of that. I think most have shared that, but it was definitely an impact, and unfortunate that the airlines were put, right in the middle of that shutdown. All the great air traffic controllers and the TSA workers, they need to be, cast as essential workers. We really need to make sure that, if anything, this industry is so essential to our economy. Think about all the people who are traveling for weddings and funerals or doctor's appointments that were displaced because we couldn't get on the same page in Washington, D.C. So we're really hopeful that, we've turned a page there and that we can move forward, looking at that end of January date with, a little bit of nervousness. But I'm confident that D.C. will pull it together and get us in the back end of that.
Yeah, you somehow, being an airline CEO, probably wasn't in your bingo card that you'd be well focused on healthcare legislation with your fingers crossed heading into January. I'm wondering how much you're hoping to attract a new class of customers versus capitalize on the ones that you have that might be willing and able to pay a little bit more with some of the new offerings.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. We know we have customers today that want our first class product. And so it's really, offering that to them so that they can buy up when that opportunity presents it. But it's also making sure that we're competitive with the industry. Everybody's moved towards premium. We're going to continue to move towards premium because it is a resilient customer segment, but we're not going to forget the folks that fly in our coach product. I mean, they're just as important, and we want to make sure that JetBlue offers something to everyone.
It really does feel a little bit like the Sharks and the Jets when you speak to some of the airline industry CEOs, where they talk about, it's become a game of consolidation, and it's become a game of the big fish really dominating the fields in a lot of different ways. They say it's going to be very hard to be a more budget-focused airline. How do you fight back? How do you sort of create a viable business model at a time when you do see this consolidation of profitability and travel in the biggest airlines?
I mean, it's definitely hard. We talk about the need for a more level playing field. When 4 carriers have 80% of the domestic seats, that's a real problem. We fight very hard in D.C. to try to make sure that we're heard, that the challenges we face, whether it's cost pressures, the lack of scale, the lack of, consolidated purchasing, the, inability to get access to gates. We just bid on a gate, a Heathrow slot, and we were denied it. And so, while I maybe understand why it went to a legacy larger carrier, those are little things that add up over time. And the smaller carriers really need to be given a fair shot to win in this environment. And that's not happening right now. So we're focused on what we can control. We're focused on a whole series of initiatives under our Jet Forward program. It's getting us moving in the right direction. I'm excited about what it's going to bring. But we do need the government to kind of make that a more level playing field so smaller carriers can more effectively compete.
In the meantime, you do have this cooperation with United. You've been expanding in a host of different places. Is that the template going forward? Maybe not consolidation due to the recent issues, but in terms of the previous merger that was denied, but going forward, having some sort of partnership with major airlines to expand the routes.
Yeah, we've got 50 airline partners across the globe, and now we have the Blue Sky partnership with United. That is most certainly a part of trying to provide more utility to our loyalty program and providing a broader global network for our customers when eventually in Q1 they can book a JetBlue flight on United.com and vice versa through our interline agreement. And so we're excited about what it's going to bring. Does it solve the problem fully? No, it doesn't. But it's definitely a meaningful revenue initiative that gets us back moving in the right direction.
Do you anticipate consolidation at any point in your future, or is that sort of on the back burner still?
That's on the back burner. We're really focused on Jet Forward. I'm really excited with the progress we're making. We're seeing it. We're seeing improved operational reliability, improved customer scores. We have not let the grass grow under our feet in 2025. We've executed a whole series of revenue initiatives. We've kept our costs under control despite pulling a 1.5 capacity this year. So 2026 really is the year that we should reap the benefits of all these initiatives that we put into place in 2025.
Before I let you get back to celebrating the new lounge, I do want to just ask you about the recent incident with a pilot for JetBlue plane that was in the route between Curacao and JFK. There was a close call with a U.S. Air Force jet. Do you have any more information about what happened there to make sure that it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I'm really proud of our pilot. He reported the event, and we train them for situations like this. We reported the incident to the government. We're waiting to hear the results of their investigation, but just pleased with how our pilot handled it and how air traffic control handled it. There's a whole series of safety nets in place in the in the national airspace system, and the pilot is the last line of defense, and he absolutely did his job, did it well, and my hope is that doesn't happen again.